Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Homestead Miami Speedway. We're at the end of 200 laps. A champion will be crowned. Seth Cole alongside of Tom Bourne. Tom, here tonight, 4 drivers have a chance to become the BackFire Sim Racing champion, and all 4 of them have made pretty clear cases for themselves, either based off of wins or based off consistency, that they very well could be the driver to beat here tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tight battle to see who comes out on top. No bonus points tonight. No stages, no nothing. So basically, whoever finishes in front of who is going to win the championship.
Tonight we're running the 1-3 speed 200 at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and it's kind of almost a tag team match here tonight. It's JKR Motorsports going up against Rebel Racing, the 96 and the 99 representing the JKR, the 9 and the 49 representing Rebel. But the thing is, unlike a tag team, there's not 2 winners, there's only 1 winner, so teammate will turn against teammate here tonight because there's a championship trophy on the line.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes down to it, it's going to come down to, I want that championship more. I don't care if we're on a team or not. You look at real racing or sim racing, everybody's going to want to win that championship, whether you're on a team or not.
It's going to come down to who's the best finisher. Not necessarily going to be a case where the driver has to win the race to win the championship. We talked about last week how James Cato has been really good at the mile and a half, picked up a number of wins in the last couple of weeks, so he might be the one everyone's chasing, so it might just come down to best finisher of the night as to who's going to host that championship trophy. For one final time, let's go down trackside and get tonight's invocation, courtesy of Pastor Zach Woods. And it looks like we're just going to have to wait on that for a moment here. Apparently, he was not ready, so we'll just quickly talk real quickly about that situation with James Cato here, Tom. I mean, so far this season, ever since bursting onto the scene, he is a perfect 3 for 3 in going to victory lane at the mile and a half tracks. Also included into that, a win in the All-Star race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, obviously, it looks like everybody's going to be chasing him. Does that change up the Final Four strategy just a little bit?
I think the Final Four are basically just going to be worried about trying to finish the highest they possibly can. They're going to be worried about where the other 3 drivers are on track compared to them. I know a bunch of them have spotters and everything. They're going to be updating constantly what the other drivers are doing and trying to get off strategy and seeing what they're going to be able to do different to try and get in front.
Try one more time here, see if we can get tonight's invocation, courtesy of Pastor Zach Woods.
Good evening, guys. I just want to say how great of a privilege it's been to do these invocations for BackFire here on FRN, and what an awesome season we've had. So one more time, guys, will you please pray with me? Almighty God, I thank you for technology like iRacing that exists, that shows us that no matter where we come from or what we're doing in our lives, we can still meet all kinds of new people that have a passion for racing and just make new friends and honestly get to know people that we otherwise might not be able to know. And God, we just thank you that we live in a time such as this where we can enjoy such technology. And so, Lord, I pray now for the drivers tonight, the Final Four. May you bless them with patience and wisdom as they seek to win a championship here. And Lord, let our conversations be fruitful and beneficial unto you. And it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
And for one final time this season, let's go down trackside for tonight's singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and
Field gets themselves onto pit road, setting up for tonight's starting lineup. And Matthew Robinson, back-to-back weeks, he is going to sit on the front row on the pole position. Robinson looking for his third win of 4 playoff races. And we kind of talked about this just pre-broadcast, Tom, that he was the fastest in practice. He laid down a lightning fast lap time here in qualifying. It's looking like the 5-time winner might be the driver to beat here tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the guys to be watching out for tonight. His teammate starting second might, he's not in the championship hunt, but he's definitely probably going to want to get a trophy before the season's end. So I'd watch out for Jeremy Richmond trying to steal that win, even though he's not in the playoff hunt.
All 4 of our final 4 up here inside of the top 8 for qualifying. You bring up a great point there, too. I mean, we were talking about James Cato more than likely being one they were going to be chasing just based off of his mile-and-a-half numbers so far this season. But there's 21 drivers in the field here tonight. Only 4 of them still have those neon green spoiler splitters and driver banner. Every single one of them want to finish out the season with a trip to victory lane. And we know that based off of last week at the mile-and-a-half, we could end up seeing this race go into super long green flag runs, green flag pit stops, and strategy come into play. Obviously, that opens up the door for some of these guys that have nothing to lose but a victory at the end of the season to play with some strategy here.
Yeah, and Homestead's one of those tricky tracks that you got to take care of the tires. Tires mean a lot here. We're gonna have 6 sets of tires here tonight for the amount of laps that we have. What was it? 135, I believe.
Yes, 135 here tonight. Last week at Kentucky, they also ran 135. So obviously an entirely different track, but same length and same race distance in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, so you know what? It's going to be with the 75% fuel level on these in this league. It's going to be you're going to get about 35 to 40 laps on fuel. If you are able to stretch it out, it's going to be a 3 pit stop race. Now you can short pit, you can go to the end, you can go to the end of the fuel run. It all matters on what you want to do, but there's definitely going to be different types of strategies going on tonight to try and get one last victory for anybody in this field.
A lot of different storylines amongst our final 4. Matthew Robinson, 5 victories this season. DJ Daniel, 3 wins, all of them at mile-and-a-half tracks early on in the season. Christopher Lawrence has a win at Daytona, and Kyle Gartner trying to pull off a Matt Crafton. He's looking for his first win and the championship here tonight as we are underway here in the 1-3 Speed 200.
That front row gets an amazing start. His teammates go side by side down into turn number 1. The 98 car of Jeremy Richmond holding strong on that outside. The 3 of James Cato almost loses in 1, and the 96 gets loose off 2.
They're all going to somehow manage to keep it somewhat straight. DJ Daniel championship hopes going for a little bit of a scare there in the early stages. James Cato dropping all the way back now to the 19th position. And now my goodness, all these guys feeling that loose sensation. And you're right, the yellow flag is out as Noah Owens is in trouble off of turn 4. Man, a lot of those cars looked really unsteady in the first couple corners.
Yeah, and that's just the tires not having heat in them. This track is so loose on new tires. You got to really take care of the throttle, take care of those tires on the first couple laps. And it just looks like the 88 of Noah Owens just got loose in the center of the corner and just slid right across the 10 of James Jones and sent him around.
Take a look at all of this. Here's where Cato had his issue there. There's Daniel in the 96 snapping loose right in front of Patrick McQuaid. Looks like somebody else there in the mid-pack area also got a little snappy loose. And then here's the 88 of Noah Owens, who eventually brings out the caution as his car travels all the way up the track. Turns that thing to the left and, maybe might have made a little contact there with the right front of the 10 of James Jones.
Yeah, just a racing deal. I mean, it's really hard to control these cars under, these new tires and whatnot. Everybody does have a fast repair to their disposal. I'm not sure if the damage is going to warrant the damage on the 10 and the 88 going to warrant a fast repair. The 3 car of James Cato, he's down pit road. He's probably going to take 4 fresh tires after that slide. You definitely don't want to be out there after you slide the tires like that.
These drivers only have 6 sets available to them, the set that they had on their cars to start this race, and an additional 5 sets on pit lane. To answer your question on the 10 and the 88, Noah Owens didn't even come to pit road yet. The 10th James Jones did come down pit lane, did take on a new set of tires, but did not fix the damage in terms of a faster pair. So it looks like when we go back green, all 21 drivers will still have their faster pair intact. Let's take a quick look here at the weather. Obviously, we're under twilight conditions. We're going to be finishing this race under the nighttime conditions. The lights already on here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And if we look right there, just the track temperature, 78 degrees. When it's cool, it is slick. And that, obviously, to your point, with the cool tires and cool track, it's like starting this race on ice.
Yeah, and it's just a weird thing Homestead's always dealt with. That when the tire pressures aren't built up, like you said, it's basically you're on ice for the first couple laps. And then once the, pressures build up and everything, that's when it really sticks to the racetrack and you really start to move forward, or you stay where you are depending on, your driving style.
So it looks like our final 4, they're all still going to be restarting up here inside of the top 7 now. Robinson the leader, Gartner in 2nd. Lawrence picked up 2 spots to 6th. And DJ Daniel, after that little bit of scare off turn 2, he still holds in the 7th position. We did have a number of drivers elect to come down pit lane, most of them topping off the fuel tank. Gene Cato, James Cato, who we saw have that near spin on the first lap, he came down along with Shane Ledoux, Zachary Woods, and James C. Jones, as well as Angel Santiago, all those drivers down pit lane. A little bit of an extended save for James Jones, as they did a little bit of TLC patchwork to the right front of his number 10, but looks like all 21 drivers are still going to be out there, still running, still on the lead lap, and we should get the 1 to green signal with the lights going out atop the iRacing pace car this next time by. Noticing here in our YouTube chat, a lot of James Cato fans out there looking for him to go a perfect 5 for 5 in his starts at both points and non-points races here this season in BackFire Sim Racing. Gonna ask you guys, who do you think, which team is gonna pick up the championship here tonight? Are you Team JKR with Robinson and Daniel, or are you Team Rebel Racing with Christopher Lawrence and Kyle Gardner? Let us know in the comments here, as still a long ways to go in this one. Only 5 laps under our belt. We'll be beginning lap 6 when we take the green flag. Working our first caution. I almost wonder too here, Tom. Obviously, these drivers starting out this race, not necessarily knowing what the car can do, what the track conditions are. Now that they have a little bit of that in the back of their mind now, what's some of the adjustments they can make here on this restart to make sure that the car doesn't snap on them?
Definitely just be a little, easier on the throttle through the corners, not oversteer into, coming off the corners. You kind of want to come off the corner straight as possible to make sure it doesn't, snap around on you. And as we go back going green, I'm noticing, I'm not sure if it's on my graphics side or it actually happened, but the left side of the back end of the 99 has some damage on it.
See if we can see that. Oh yeah, we can see that here as well on our camera shot. Not sure where that would have come from. Would that affect that car, do you think, having that spoiler, the left side of it sticking up in the air, especially on these straightaways?
So it could, usually back end damage, it could help or it could hurt. I know damage on the back end at certain tracks, it does help you go faster, but usually that's on like the middle to the right side of the car. I don't know if it really works on the left side. Usually when I'm racing, if I have damage on the left side of the car, I have damage all over the car, so I'm not really going that fast, so I can't really tell. I guess we'll just see how it goes. I mean, it doesn't look like it slowed him down at all, as he's still pulling away from the field.
Right now, about 0.3 of a second over his teammate Jeremy Richmond. We drop back here just in the middle of the top 10, where we see Kyle Gardner, DJ Daniel, Jeremy Richmond. There's Christopher Lawrence on the inside, and these guys were 3 wide in 2 different portions of the top 10 there, going through 1 and 2 on that restart lap, and they're going to go 3 wide back here again. That's the 8 of Ryan Sizemore getting put in the middle, with Christian Ruse in the 14 taking a look to the inside. And one thing I'm noticing, a lot of drivers already early on migrating up to that top side. Ooh, hard hit.
Big wreck in the back.
I believe is the 11 of TJ Roberts.
The 21 of Jeffrey Vickery and the 7 of Josh Anderson. I believe another car, the 43, got involved also.
That's Ryan Phillips involved also, just a little bit further up there on the back straightaway, and that for sure was a hard shot for TJ Roberts in the 11. There you see him, the car smoking as he leaves the scene. TJ picking up that third place run, sniping third place from DJ Daniel last week at Kentucky, his best finish of the season, but early issues here tonight for him, and that's got fast repair written all over it. Certainly don't want to have to use that fast repair less than 10 laps into this race.
Yeah, and the 5 got into the back end of someone on the tail end of that wreck, so he has some damage on the front end. I thought James Cato, I thought he was going to get involved in this thing. He dodged and weaved through this like a professional. It was something to watch.
That's a hard shot there for both the 11 and the 21 of Jeffrey Vickery. That looked so eerily similar to what we saw happen to Noah Owens, where they took the high line around the racetrack, around turns 1 and 2, and on 2 separate occasions, you saw the back end want to step out on that race car. Finally, on the second snap, it finally just overcorrected into the outside wall. And the thing I was going to point out just before that wreck took place, I saw a lot of drivers migrating up to that outside line, almost against the wall, especially over in 3 and 4.
Yeah, so at Homestead, now that iRacing has updated the dynamic tracks and everything like that, Homestead was one of those tracks that they updated so you can run that outside lane. Homestead is one of the tracks that you want to be on that outside lane. Now, when you're running that line, you don't want to be on the seams of the racetrack. For the newer people watching and everything like that, the seams are where it separates. They call it whatever the lines it gets separated by. And you'll see it on the track. They are darker black lines. When you get on those, the car becomes very, very unstable. And the car can get very loose. And right before that wreck, the left side of the car of the 11, the left side tires, got onto that top seam, and it sent him around.
You saw right there the onboard of that miss you were talking about there of James Cato getting around the spinning Ryan Phillips. Cato picked up a number of spots because of that, moving his way from an 18th restarting position up to 11th here for this upcoming restart. Still up to this point, our final 4 have not run into any detrimental issues. Of course, still that slide that DJ Daniel had on the first lap off of turn 2, but didn't affect him. He's still up here inside of the top 6, as your final 4 will be restarting 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 6th for this upcoming restart. And 2 drivers are already 1 fast repair in the hole. The 2 that we saw take those hard licks into the inside wall, TJ Roberts and Jeffrey Vickery. So they're going to have to kind of tiptoe and preserve their stuff here for the final 120 some odd laps, as we'll be going back green here for our second restart of the night on lap number 12.
As we have the JKR guys running 1-2-4 right now. Very good showing by them, as they all get a very good restart. And it looks like the 98 beat the 99 to the line there.
Not going to have the preferred line going into 1 and 2, it doesn't look like, though. And it will be Robinson going back to the point. Whew! Wasn't sure if Jeremy Richmond was turning down there of his own accord, or if that was a case of the car getting loose, but it's actually going to give him such a run down the back straightaway, he's going to go to the point in turn 3.
Yeah, but that 99 car is so strong on the bottom, as he's just going to muscle it underneath his teammate, tries to clear him off the corner, can't get it done, as they'll be side by side going down to 1.
Here's the tough thing for someone if you're like Jeremy Richmond in that 98. You're still looking for your first trip to victory lane, but the guy you've got to beat to be able to win the race is your teammate who's battling for a championship. So when you go into a Final Four situation and you know you've got teammates battling for that championship trophy while you yourself are trying to find victory lane, do you still race the teammate in a different way, or do you basically say, all right, the green flag's flown, we were teammates up to this point, but now we've both got two entirely different agendas?
I mean, I think it kind of comes down to like what's going on around you. Jeremy's doing a great job at taking away that high side from the 49 and the 9, keeping him between the other the other 3 playoff drivers actually, and his teammate. So right now he's trying to, I guess, try and just play a little defense right now for Matthew Robinson. But I guarantee you, if Richmond gets the chance, he's going to try and take it.
Riding on board here with Christopher Lawrence in the 9, looking ahead there to teammate Kyle Gartner for the 3rd position. Robinson and Richmond continuing to battle for the lead, just a couple cars up ahead. Christopher Lawrence, his win this season was at Daytona. His consistency has been there for the 1.5 miles, but it's just been just a tick off behind the JKR drivers. And yes, yellow flag is out. Jeffrey Vickery and Gene Cato finding issues off of turn 2 and about midway down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Gene's got a lot of damage all around that car. That's going to probably be he took a hard hit to the inside wall. That's going to be a fast repair, definitely.
Take a look and see what happened here, and it's almost kind of like same song, 3rd verse. Car on the top side gets snappy loose through the center of the corner, tries to gather it up, but then, unfortunately for Jeffrey Vickery, wrong place, wrong time. He gets sent down towards the inside wall, doesn't take the hit nearly that Gene Cato did, but that's a hard lick there, and it kind of makes me wonder if these guys are brave going up to that outside line just based off the facts so far. Every single one of our cautions has come out due to a driver spinning from the top side.
Yeah, but you've noticed all these cautions have come after about 3 laps of racing. That's when the tires kind of cycle through, the heat start almost built up and everything, and that's when they really start to feel like they can push the car. And at times you feel like you can push it, but you can't. And unfortunately, that's what's getting these guys in trouble. Especially with car placement on the racetrack. Now, Seth, you were saying, same song, 3rd verse. I don't like this song. Can we please put on a different one?
So far, our longest run here tonight under the green flag has been 6 laps in total. We've been under the caution now for 3 laps, and it hasn't really even been the fact that these drivers are racing each other hard. It's more been the battle of driver versus track, or maybe driver versus car, depending on how much rear grip they're getting, especially off of turn number 2. Let's see if we can find out just exactly how some of our Final Four drivers are competing with the loose conditions we're seeing out there. Let's talk with a guy that's trying to pull off something here that no driver has done so far this season, and that's not only pick up his first win on the season here tonight, but also win the championship. Let's talk with Kyle Gartner. Hey Kyle, it's Thomas Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a moment to talk with us?
Yes, I do.
All right, so first off, congratulations on making it into the Final Four last week. That car looks fast. You've kept it up here inside the top 3. What little more are you looking to get out of it to get up there to the race lead?
To be honest, I'm just mainly focused on tires right now. Now that the sun's going down, there's a little bit more grip, so I'm just going to try to not chew them up and be ready for that long run.
Now, Kyle, we've seen a lot of cars get loose into the run after a couple laps. Are you starting to feel that situation as well, where you're up on that high side and the grip's starting to come in, so you're starting to push the car and you feel a kick out, or you got it under control?
Actually, right now, it's more of a push up high, but I know if you go low, usually that's when you start, feeling that looseness.
Now, Kyle, obviously we mentioned last week, the numbers are certainly there. showing why you are a Final Four contender. But the one thing that's missing is that trip to victory lane. You're only one of the Final Four coming in tonight that has not got a 1 in the win column. What's the focus here? Are we looking towards victory lane, or are we looking big picture at the championship, or are we looking at both in one lovely package?
Well, I'd love to have the first win tonight. I mean, that would be ideal, but as long as I'm ahead of Robinson, Daniels, and Lawrence, I would be satisfied with that.
That's all it takes. Well, best of luck to you, Kyle. We see that the lights are out top the pace car. We'll let you get back at it. Best of luck.
I appreciate it.
All right, so he'll be rolling off from the 3rd position behind Robinson and Richmond. Christopher Lawrence's teammate will line up to the outside, and DJ Daniel will line up behind them in 5th place. So it's interesting here, Tom, that the Final Four keep getting closer and closer. When we started this race, they were all up inside of the top 8. After the first restart, they were inside the top 7. Second restart, they were inside the top 6, and now 3 restarts in, they're all up inside of the top 5, which, it just kind of shows, too. This is why these are the Final Four, because they're going to find themselves in the same area of the racetrack all night long.
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say after the next restart, all Final Four drivers are going to be inside the top 5 again.
Jeremy Richmond certainly hoping they won't all be up inside the Final Four, because that means he would lose out on a ton of spots. But yeah, there's a lot of drivers up here right now.
Hoping for that too.
Yeah, exactly. He wants him to be able to be his wingman, keep those guys at bay. A lot of drivers up here, including Kyle Gartner, that are looking for their first win on the season. Richmond starting in 2nd. Ryan Sizemore back here in 6th. Patrick McQuaid, Crib Subka, Christian Roos, Noah Owens, all these guys up here inside the top 10. Would love to finish out the year with a victory as the green flag back in the air. Lap 20 goes on the board. And look at Richmond again with that run on the top side down the back straightaway. Woo! Was that Noah Owens back there getting out of shape, I think?
Yes, it was. He is low going down into turn number 3. He's going to... No, he's high into 3. He doesn't have a back end right now, so that might help him with speed, but it's definitely going to make the car looser during the run.
Yeah, remember, Owens brought out the first caution of the day, and whatever damage he sustained, he still has, because he did not take a faster pair at that point. Actually, didn't even come to pit road under the caution that he spun under. So, obviously, fighting that machine, as we saw a possible battle for the championship briefly there. Matthew Robinson was under fire from Christopher Lawrence. For the time being, he keeps him in the rearview mirror. Kyle Gartner right there as well in the 49. So, 3 of our top 4 throw a blanket over them from 2nd back to 4th.
Yeah, and Jeremy Richmond is just loving this right now. He is just going to try and drive away because he is just focused on trying to get the win right now. Like you said, the 3 of the Final 4 guys are 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, literally right under a blanket. And as the 9 gets a little out of shape off 2, this is what it comes down to. You know, you don't have to win the race to win the championship. They can all finish 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. That person that finishes 15th would win the championship.
Robinson almost shaking hands with that bluish-green outside retaining wall there through 3 and 4. It's about the highest I've seen anybody run so far here tonight through the corners, trying to chase his teammate Jeremy Richmond. I want to just touch on a point of a question that you asked Kyle Gartner there moments ago about the fact that it seemed like drivers were getting more out of shape the longer the run went on. You would think that more than likely that with the tires heating up, they'd find a little bit more grip. Is that not the case here?
So it all depends on your driving style. As the cycle of tires goes through, heat builds up, obviously. Now, when the heat builds up, you get to a point as Gardner almost gets in the wall in 1 and 2. As the heat builds up, you start to put more speed into the car because the car feels more comfortable. Now, as you put more speed into the car, obviously it gets to a point where you think it's going to stick, and it actually doesn't because the tires aren't up to full temperature in the heat cycle. So that's where you see these cars getting out of shape and everything. But as you see, like now that we're 7 laps into this run, 8 laps into this run, you're not seeing a lot of guys get loose because the tires are up to their full potential in heat cycle, and everybody's got what they got and moving forward.
What else I'm noticing? There's very few drivers willing to use that inside line. I think Hubka in the 5 and maybe Christian Ruse in the 14. They're the only two that I've seen in the last couple of laps that have gone any lower than the middle groove. Everybody's pretty much running single file, all sharing that outside line just above that that black seam there.
Yeah, and it's definitely hard. It's hard to pass on the bottom line as the tires get worn. You heard it from Gardner earlier. The car will get loose on that bottom line. As speaking of the bottom line, James Cato and the 73 of Patrick McQuaid trying to make that bottom lane work. McQuaid makes the pass on the 8 of Ryan Sizemore as Sizemore tries to cross him back over. Gets under the 96 of DJ Daniel. So you can, but the outside gets such a good run off now that they fix the dynamic tracks and everything like that, and you can run that outside lane. It's just so hard to pass on the outside. But if you have a slow car on the outside, or you have to check up, just like how I'll use the 73 as an example. He had to check up right there. The 8 got by him. Well, almost. If you have a slow car on that outside lane and you have to check up, that inside lane's just gonna blow right by you.
We're gonna go 3 wide there as Cato's gonna hook the bottom, put Ryan Sizemore in the middle, and now Sizemore is going to try and get to the outside around Cato back for that 7th position. Obviously, these drivers that are on the inside line, they've got clear racetrack. They're able to send it a little bit faster into the corner, a lot more speed than drivers that have someone in front of them on that outside line checking up. But how is that affecting their tires? Because obviously I would think that carrying more speed, you're going to drift up about a half groove more than you would if you were just kind of running behind somebody at a normal pace on that outside line. I would think that that'd be shredding those Goodyears maybe a little bit more than you'd want it to.
So it's definitely going to shred them more because everybody's running that outside lane, so there's going to be more rubber built up on the outside line. More rubber buildup means less tire wear. The people that are running the lower line are putting the rubber down on the bottom, which is wearing the tires even more.
Things are getting interesting from 3rd place on back. I don't know what stacked them all up, but what was like 3 or 4 or 5 cars all running single file has now turned into double wide about 3-4 rows deep. Patrick McQuaid leading that group, and then it's a battle between Christopher Lawrence and DJ Daniel, as well as Kyle Gartner. This would theoretically be for 2nd in the championship standings, as Daniel's going to complete that slide job. He had the space in front of Lawrence and behind Patrick McQuaid, so he'll move up to 4th place, leaving him 3 wide behind him, with Cato in the middle, Christian Ruse on the bottom, and Kyle Gartner high, wide, and handsome on the top.
Yeah, that was a beautiful move by DJ Daniels. Beautiful slide job. And a guy that I'm watching slowly working his way through this field again is the 21 of Jeffrey Vickery. He was involved in the last caution. I believe the last 2 cautions, actually. I believe he pit 4 fresh tires his last pit stop. So he has better tires than the rest of these guys, and you can see he's making them work as he's passing these guys. Not much quicker, but he is getting better runs than everyone else.
Good call. You're absolutely right. He did take on 4 fresh tires under that last pit stop, and so too did James Cato, hence why both of them have been able to pretty rapidly work their way up through the field. Cato now up to 5th, Vickery trying to take 6th place away from the 9 of Christopher Lawrence. We did have a battle for the lead brewing. It's now kind of settled just a little bit here between Richmond and Matthew Robinson, but I think what Robinson's doing right now, he's content to be where he is, but as soon as that 96 starts closing in about 2-3 tenths off his back bumper, I think Matthew Robinson's going to say, all right, sorry, Jeremy, but I got to go.
Yeah, I definitely think Matthew's just chilling right now. He knows his only competition right now for the championship is DJ. He's about 7 tenths back in that 4th position. And then you have, Lawrence and Gardner running 7th and 8th. So right now, he's not really that much under pressure. Patrick McQuaid is making a lot of time right now. And actually, DJ Daniel I believe this 98 car of Jeremy Richmond is holding up Robinson just a little bit.
He's forcing Robinson to have to go to that inside line. Robinson might try the slide job here. Doesn't look like he's quite clear to be able to do it. Now he is, because Richmond got up. I'm pretty sure he got that outside wall there through the center of 3 and 4.
If he did, he barely scraped it, because he got a great run off the corner, but he definitely, definitely didn't want to go to the inside of that 99. Here comes Kato out of nowhere.
He has been able to really make up a lot of time on that inside line. Picks up third on Patrick McQuaid. Now he'll drive it deep again into 3 to try and take second place away from Jeremy Richmond. Looks like he might have that pass complete coming off of turn number 4. So look out, Matthew Robinson, because here comes James Cato. It's interesting because we talked about Matthew Robinson being the favorite here tonight. That's because of his 5 wins during the season, but he's not won this entire schedule on a 1.5-mile track. DJ Daniel won the 1.5 miles in the first half of the season. James Cato won the 1.5 miles here in the second half of the season. So the 99's looking for his first win at a track of this length, and he's trying to do it in maybe the most important race in the season.
Yeah, I think if Kato has anything to say about it, he's going to say otherwise, because we have a battle for the lead side by side going down to turn 1. Kato should be able to complete the pass here coming out of 2.
Takes the shorter way around. He does indeed have him clear, and even gets a nice run there off of turn 2 to keep the 99 in his rearview mirror. DJ Daniel also got around his teammate Jeremy Richmond. He's up to third. Right now, about half a second stands between the 99 and the 96 for the on-track battle for the championship.
Don't speak too soon, but here comes that 21 car of Jeffrey Vickery. He's up to the 5th position. Up to the 4th position, battling for the 4th position right now. We have a 3-way battle for that 4th position between Jeffrey Vickery, Jeremy Richmond, who's kind of fallen off the pace now. Might have used up his stuff early in the run. As he's under fire from Patrick McQuaid, who's kind of stuck behind him.
And I like this from Vickery because we saw him get involved in not 1, but 2 of our cautions so far here tonight. He's one of 4 drivers that has already used his fast repair, but he's not driving scared. He's out there still competing, still making forward progress up inside of the top 5. He's the highest of the 4 drivers so far tonight that have used their fast repair. Second highest, TJ Roberts up in 10th, and then the other 2 drivers right now, Gene Cato and Ryan Phillips, running towards the rear of the field. So Jeffrey Vickery, obviously of the feeling that you're more than likely not going to run to nearly as much trouble up at the front, where there's a little bit more cleaner racetrack to deal with than back in traffic, and so far it's working for him. He had those fresh tires, and he's made the most of it.
Yeah, it was definitely a smart move for Kato and Vickery to get off strategy this early. Yes, it was only about 15 to 20 laps on the tires, but those heat cycles can definitely hurt the tires and affect how they handle if you don't take care of them. You can see, like, Kato just drove through the field, same thing with Vickery, and they are making great time. And they're going to be able to go a little longer on fuel. Will they make it to the end? Probably not. On 2 more stops, maybe if they save a little bit, but they are definitely sitting well, and if they want to, they can pit with the leaders and still have this track position.
Looking there at Brock Salvati, the 4th entry out of JKR Motorsports. We've mentioned his 3 teammates here tonight, but Brock now moving up into the 6th position around Jeremy Richmond. And we've got Robinson and Daniel up here running in 2nd and 3rd. What has happened to the Rebel Racing cars? Kyle Gartner right now running in 8th, but his teammate Christopher Lawrence has now dropped all the way back to the 12th position. Is this a case of trying to preserve those tires, maybe go a little bit longer on a run than everybody else? Because so far, 25 laps into this run, the longest run we've had so far here tonight at Homestead.
I honestly, it could be a multitude of things. He's about, I want to say, 0.6 to 0.7 off the fastest, off the leader's last lap. So I don't know if he's trying to save fuel or he's just worn out his tires that much. But he's definitely got to find something.
Certainly, it's too early in this race to say he's dug himself into a hole, but he is lacking in terms of track position to the other three members of the Final Four here tonight. Brock Silvati is on the move. Now, he was on pit road under the last caution, much like James Cato and Jeffrey Vickery, but I believe he only went with a two-tire strategy. However, it seems like he's been able to preserve his tires a little bit better. Oh, someone just blew up back there. Saw smoke. Was that the 7 of Josh Anderson? Yeah, well, actually, I guess he's still under power. But I saw a big plume of smoke come out from underneath that 7 machine as he's now limping that thing around the apron.
He's going to stop it on the apron, and he is going to tow it. And looks like that will be his day if he hasn't used his fast repair yet. If he has used his fast repair yet, his day will be done. But if he hasn't, then he'll just be a couple laps down and get back out there.
He has not yet used his fast repair, so he should still be able to continue. But to your point, with taking the tow, especially when it was already past his pit stall over there in turns 1 and 2, going to be a pretty lengthy tow, and he will certainly lose multiple laps because of that. We did have a driver on pit road, Shane Ledoux in the 91, just now leaving. This could potentially be the start of our first pit road cycle, especially with the fact that there's a number of guys out here that didn't pit under the last caution. They're about to come around and complete their 45th lap here under this run. Obviously, most of those, are a good portion of those, under pacing, but you'd have to think guys like Robinson, DJ Daniel, we're going to see them on pit road within the next 5 laps.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them come in within the next 5 to 10 laps. Definitely, for a guy like, as the 91 almost loses it off 4 on the new tires. Wow, good save by him. Definitely if, Robinson or DJ Daniel, if I was DJ right now, I would pit 2 laps, roughly 1 to 2 laps before Robinson, because they are about, I want to say 2 seconds off their qualifying time. So, with that being said, those 2 laps, that's 4 seconds you're going to make up on track. And you'll be sitting about 2 seconds ahead of Robinson if you have everything go to plan.
Riding on board here with DJ Daniel. And yeah, a thing too that I'm looking at is the lap times here of this run as opposed to back on those first couple of laps for the start of this race and the restarts. Lap times have fallen off by more than a second and a half. I mean, DJ Daniel, his fastest lap so far tonight, a 33.1. He just ran a 34.8. That's 1.7 seconds difference,
Wow.
and there's a caution.
It's the 91.
Shane Ledoux, who was just on pit lane, also seeing the 7 of Josh Anderson over there in the grass. And the caution's going to fly, so all the pit strategy that we were just putting together there, that's all academic. It's all out the window, and everybody's going to get to come to pit road together here under our 4th caution of the night. Let's go back and see what happened over in turn 3.
It was starting off turn 2, actually. And it ended up in turn number 3.
Shane Ledoux in the 91 with those slick tires all by his lonesome there. Maybe the longest slide of the night is, oh wow, then goes up, hits the outside wall. There's Josh Anderson in the 7 who was just coming off pit lane. He's going to make some contact, and 91 finally ends up facing the wrong way, about 2/3 down the back straightaway. Gets the thing refired, continues on, but there's the 7 of Josh Anderson there again as well, who had just come to pit road after calling that tow and taking on a fast repair.
Yeah, it's a shame that Josh Anderson was just an innocent bystander right there. Literally just came out of pit road from that fast repair and gets hit.
Everybody on pit road. Matthew Robinson with that number 1 pit stall. We'll see if that's going to play to his advantage. I'll be surprised if anybody plays some strategy here. Even the drivers that had pitted under the last caution had about 25, 26 laps on their tires, but Brock Salvati is going to come down with the race lead. Actually, correction, Jeffrey Vickery in the 21 is being scored the leader, but I think he might have actually missed his pit stall.
Yeah, I believe he. Let me go back and see. Yes, he did. Didn't even stop in his box. He's coming back down now. I believe James Cato will not be the leader. Yeah, you're right. Brock Salvati will be your race leader. And then James Cato, Matthew Robinson, DJ Daniel, and Patrick McQuaid will round out your top 5.
The pit stop for Brock Salvati clocked in at 11.3. James Cato's clocked in at 14.7. So obviously there's a huge discrepancy there, about 3 seconds difference. Would that have translated to maybe just a 2-tire stop for the 97, or did they just do a really lightning fast 4-tire stop?
It definitely wasn't a lightning fast pit stop, because if that is, I want to hire that pit crew for my races. Let's take a look. Give me 2 seconds. I will let you know. Right sides go up. Fueling. Right sides go down, and left sides do not go up, and he is away. Yep, it was a 2-tire stop for the 97.
So gutsy call here by Brock Salvati to gain himself some track position. He had already, before that caution came out, worked his way up to 6th place, and net gain of 5 spots here. He'll be the one to lead us back to green over James Cato, Matthew Robinson, DJ Daniel, Patrick McQuaid. TJ Roberts, after using a faster pair early on, after a hard lick into the outside wall of turn 2, he's now up to 6th. Kyle Gartner in 7th. Christian Ruse, Christopher Lawrence, and Ryan Sizemore are going to be your top 10. Little bit of an extended stay for the 98 of Jeremy Richmond. Was second when the caution came out. Came down pit road and left in 11th place. A little bit of maybe 5 seconds extra time on pit lane. I'm almost wondering if, with how high he was running on the racetrack, maybe some right side damage they might have had to buffer out there for him.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. You know, you never know. You never know what could have happened if he got a little contact with another car or anything like that. But, yeah, Jeremy definitely with a long pit stop on pit road.
With this caution coming out, it will put Ryan Phillips in the 43 back on the lead lap. So 18 drivers on the same lap as leader Brock Salvati. All 21 still running here as we are closing in on the halfway point of this race. 52 laps into this 135 lap season finale. Right now, DJ Daniel and Matthew Robinson in row 2. They're the ones that are battling for the championship. Cato and Salvati will be battling for the lead. Pace car is going to hit pit road. Why don't we give it a good old Homestead Miami crank it up? Caution waves for the 5th time here tonight at Homestead, and it's a big one involving playoff contenders. Matthew Robinson and the 99 all torn up, leaving the scene smoking. That was around the second position, Tom.
Yeah, Matthew Robinson was getting loose in coming off turn 2. His teammate DJ Daniel had no place to go. Himself, DJ, and the 9. First of all four playoff guys are involved in this wreck. 3 of them are smoking. The only person not smoking is the 49 of Kyle Gardner.
Man.
Wow. I don't know how much damage Gardner has.
I'm not certain. We'll be going back looking at the replay. There's Hubka back there in the 5. The whole front end of his car is gone. The engine exposed.
Gardner's got a lot of front end damage. That's going to be a fast repair.
Let's go back and see what happened. We talked about the fact that our final 4, most of the night, have all been up in the same vicinity. And so if one of our final 4 run into trouble, the likelihood that the other 3 are going to get involved pretty good. And here's what happened to start with Matthew Robinson. Exactly what you described. And man, that is quite a shot that both he and DJ Daniel took into that outside wall. And tracks blocked on the top, tracks blocked on the bottom. All of these drivers are trying to get everything they could there, as these were just the first couple of laps of a restart, and a lot of torn up machines.
A lot of fast repairs. Bring out the backup cars.
Take a look here at what was happening up on the top side of the racetrack here with DJ Daniel, Kyle Gartner, and others. Boy, that's a shot. There's Gartner. Oh, yeah, that car went up on 2 wheels. Did Kyle Gartner's. That shot, I think that was TJ Roberts down to the inside. Christian Ruse. James Jones back there. I saw the 21 of Jeffrey Vickery involved. That's a driver that we already know had used a fast repair. Looked like a lot of front-end damage on that machine. That could be night over for him.
He's coming out of pit road right now, so he's got front-end damage, but he's going to make the most of it.
So to follow up on those final 4 drivers, DJ Daniel back down pit road again. He did use a fast repair there. Kyle Gartner, he made a pit stop a lap ago. He took on a fast repair. Christopher Lawrence took on a fast repair. And Matthew Robinson
brought out the backup car.
Yep, so that's their mulligan. That's their mulligan of the night. And now they're going to have about 75 laps to make sure they keep those things in one piece because the championship hangs in the balance.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
Certainly turned this finale on its head. We had worked 4 cautions prior to this, and none of our championship contenders had been involved in any of them. Then the 5th caution comes out, and every single one of them have now gone to their backup car via a fast repair. Look at the names, though, that have now popped up inside the top 5. McQuaid's now up to 2nd behind James Cato. Ryan Sizemore up to 3rd. Noah Owens, who brought out the first caution of the night, now is up to 4th. And Angel Santiago is now up to the 5th position. If I'm not mistaken, I think Santiago restarted back after the 4th caution in the 15th position. He picked up 10 spots working his way through that wreck.
Yeah, definitely a great job by him. And right behind him, Gene Cato. He's running in 6th.
Gene Cato, who already is a fast repair, and you got Ryan Phillips also there, who was involved in an earlier wreck. I think he and Gene were actually involved in the same wreck. They're now in 6th and 7th place.
And
I believe with this caution, I think that Shane Ledoux should be getting the free pass here. No, correction. Zachary Woods, I think, is going to be getting the free pass here under this yellow flag.
Yeah, Zachary Woods did get the free pass under this last caution. Wow. I really wish we weren't on the crank it up right there because my reaction was priceless.
It certainly was. You know, the interesting thing is, too, prior to that last caution coming out, only 5 drivers had used a fast repair. Now going back green here under this restart, only 7 drivers are yet to use a fast repair. So no doubt about it, if we went back to a certain pivotal point of the race to kind of determine who the champion was, I think we'd have to look back here at this 5th caution tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And pace car's off. Green flag is back in the air. Everybody stacks it up as the three of James Cato and Patrick McQuaid go 1-2, single file, as they drive it down to turn one. Ryan Sizemore clears the 88 of Noah Owens. He'll move into third, and Angel Santiago moves up to fourth as he's loose off two. Can he save it? No.
He's going to drive it, but he's going to drive it to the inside wall. No caution comes out. And we got the 96 back on pit road there of DJ Daniel. I would have to assume this is unscheduled for him. This is going to lose him a lap.
It's not good. I don't know what is going on with the 96, but that's definitely a hole that he does not want to be in right now.
Chris Hupkin, the 5, down pit road as well. I'm almost wondering if we might have had some restart violations. You talked about how they were kind of stacked up there when we took the green flag just moments ago. I'm almost wondering if there might have been some penalties forcing the 96 and the 5 to have to come down pit lane here under green flag conditions. And talk about that caution turning this race on its head. Christopher Lawrence, who just moments ago was 4th of the championship for, he's now the highest running, just ahead of Matthew Robinson, right now in the 6th position.
Well, you might have spoke too soon, because Matthew Robinson is underneath Christopher Lawrence for that championship win.
Lawrence, though, in the preferred line, if you will, on the top side, going to hang on to the spot for the time being, running in the tire tracks of the 43 of Ryan Phillips. Now they all migrate down to the bottom of the racetrack behind the 2 of Gene Cato. So that's about a 4 or 5 car fight for the 4th position.
Yeah, you can throw all these guys under a blanket right now, but 2 of these guys, no offense to the rest of the drivers racing right now, 2 of these drivers only matter because they're racing for a championship, as the 9 almost gets into the 2 off 2. Say that 5 times fast. As we got 3 9s going, as the single 9 is going to try and make it 3 wide, as the double 9 is going to go all the way to the outside. My goodness.
4 cars, 4 different lines there into turn 3. Woo, little contact there. Jeremy Richmond in the 98 almost hooked the 2 of Gene Cato. Cato now dropping back. Whoa! Look at Kyle Gartner, ran right up on the back bumper of the 2, had to quickly shift a groove higher. Maybe not the entry he wanted into turn 1, but Kyle Gartner, he's got laser focus. He's trying to get up there to the 9 and the 99 because that's where the battle for the championship is.
Yeah, and speaking of battle for championship, DJ Daniel is not even in the free pass position. He is the 3rd car 1 lap down at the moment, and he is about all right, he's not that far behind the 2 cars in front of him, but still, he's got some work to do.
Right now, 19th place is where he runs. He's got nearly 17 seconds to make up on the 91 of Shane Ledoux, who right now holds the free pass position in the 17th spot.
For 4th, Robinson trying to make the pass on the 9. Can he make it? He's not clear yet.
Almost. Paper thin was the margin there between his rear bumper and the front bumper of the 9. He might have him cleared here off of turn 2. He does. Yeah, you saw how Lawrence had to bail out of the throttle just a little bit more through the center of the corner. Robinson kept his foot in it, drifted it up, and he will now move into the 4th position. And again, folks, as mentioned at top of the broadcast, no bonus points for leading laps, no bonus points for pole position, no bonus points for leading the most laps. It all comes down to whoever of the final 4 finishes the highest. So right now, Robinson, he'd finish 4th, but he'd be hoisting the championship trophy at the end of the night.
I don't think Robinson wants to finish 4th, though, to win this championship. I think he wants to go out there and win to win this championship.
Definitely be a dominating season for him. 5 trips to victory lane already this season, the most of all drivers. And 2 of those wins taking place here during the playoffs. Last week at Kentucky and the week before at the makeup race at Iowa. James Cato, though, continuing to show the way in that 3 machine. He's been able to grow a pretty good gap between himself and Patrick McQuaid, and that's not what Matthew Robinson wants to see, because we saw when James Cato was getting up into the vicinity of Matthew Robinson and Jeremy Richmond, it looked like he was a little bit faster, albeit he was on fresher tires, but even here on equal footing, it's looking like that 3 car just a little bit faster on the long run.
Well, as you say that, Matthew Robinson was 0.3 quicker that last lap than our race leader, James Cato. Let's see what he
Now,
is this time. He is about a tenth quicker.
and he will go to the inside of Patrick McQuaid for second place. Ooh, it's going to be close here off of 2 if he can clear him or not.
Not
Nope,
yet.
not quite there. He'll probably be able to complete the pass down here in 3 and 4. That's where he seems to really be at his best on that inside line. He carries a ton of speed through the center of the corner.
Yeah, but you saw
You
him.
see right there.
He tapped that apron just a little bit, and he did not want. He cleared McQuaid later than he wanted to. He definitely, if he didn't, you saw him get on that white line. You really don't want to do that around here. You want to be right where he is right now, about a quarter of a car length above that white line. If you hit that white line, it's going to either make the cars stop turning for a little bit or just shoot the car straight up the track. It's kind of the same thing, really. But it's definitely a scary feeling hitting basically the apron.
Christopher Lawrence getting around McQuaid up to 3rd, just trying to keep the 99 within view. Kyle Gartner back here in the 6th position, trying to reel in Ryan Sizemore to break up into the top 5. And if you just joined us, DJ Daniel had an unscheduled pit stop there just after we went back green. Finds himself 1 lap down in 18th. However, very important pass coming up here for DJ Daniel, because just up ahead of him is the 91 of Shane Ledoux. That is the battle for the free pass position should we get a caution.
Don't speak too soon, though, because the 97 and the 90 are both on the tail end of the lead lap, and the leader has them in their sights. So DJ Daniel not out of the woods yet. He has a very small window to get past this 91 and to get a caution, as the 91 gets loose off too, as the battle for the lucky dog spot heats up.
Angel Santiago, who we saw have that spin when we went back green, but no caution come out. So he is way back here in danger of falling off the lead lap. Brock Silvati in the 97. Now we saw just before that big wreck took place, he went with the 2-tire strategy. It did not work out in his favor. He dropped like a rock through the field, and it's almost looking like the damage he sustained when getting involved in that wreck back in the 5th caution, he didn't bother to fix it. He still has a faster pair at his disposal, but that whole right side of the machine is completely pancaked.
Yeah, it's questionable to see. Questionable why he didn't do that. I'd want my car repaired as quick as possible to try and get back out there. I know it's a risk. Not fixing it or fixing it too early. But speaking of getting cars fixed and everything, remember how you were saying that 99 car might have something for the 3? Yeah, well, he's on the back bumper of them now.
And he's going to jump to the top line. Cato's going to go to the inside line. So interesting that he's changing up the line he wants to run is James Cato. I would have thought he would have tried to force the 99 to the inside line. It's interesting this too, because I talked with James Cato after his victory last week at Kentucky, and I said to him, you're going to have those final 4 hounding you for this race win in their attempt to also win the championship. How hard are you going to race them? And he said, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to leave that up to them. I'm going to try and see if I can finish out this season with a W, try and be perfect at all the 1.5-mile tracks. But right there, not much of a fight being put up, as Robinson will go back to the point.
Yeah, but Cato is definitely not letting him go that easy. Gets a great run off 4 down the front stretch, as now Robinson's going to have to battle with the 90 of Angel Santiago, and that's not what his teammate TJ Daniel wanted to see. The 90 goes a lap down, and that means that now he has to get past the 97 and the 90.
And this also, this far into a run, takes out any questions of a caution coming out and DJ Daniel taking the wave around. Right now, he's out there on 15-lap old tires, and with the championship on the line, you just can't put yourself in that kind of a box and make a situation worse that obviously has not gone the way of DJ Daniel here tonight. 3-time winner DJ Daniel, and all 3 of those wins, as mentioned, came at mile-and-a-half tracks, but the mile-and-a-half of Homestead, Miami has not been kind to him here tonight. As Matthew Robinson back to the point, showing the way here in the 1-3 speed 200, trying to go coast-to-coast pole to win, and again, trying to pick up his first win at a mile-and-a-half, and I mentioned this last week. I mentioned this at the top of the program, that these drivers don't necessarily have to win the race to be able to win the championship. But you brought up the point here that for Matthew Robinson, he kind of feels he has something to prove as far as this mile-and-a-half program. Came up runner-up last week at Kentucky and trying to see if he can close out the deal here against the guy that's kind of been his mile-and-a-half nemesis, James Cato.
Yeah, and Cato is definitely not letting Robinson drive away. Robinson's opened it up to a 4/10 lead, but it's kind of stayed there. Cato kind of, just riding behind him, biding his time. Both of them are pulling away from third place Christopher Lawrence, trying to build a little bit of a lead so they can maybe duke it out amongst themselves. It's going to be a 1 pit stop to the finish race, at least so I think. With the fuel mileage, I believe they can go, I said at the top of the broadcast, they can go like 35 to 40 laps. It looks like they can go a little more than that, maybe like 45 to 47, maybe even 50, depending. So if they can make it to lap 85 or lap 90, I think they're good to go to the end. So money stop might be coming up soon.
DJ Daniel, just an update on him. He got around Brock Silvati. He's now only 7.5 seconds behind Angel Santiago for what would be the free pass position. And it looks like we're going to have our first retiree of the race. Shane Ledoux has brought the 91 to the garage area. He will finish out the season here at Homestead, Miami in the 21st place. Kyle Gartner right now is in 4th place, but there's a heck of a battle going on behind him. Ryan Phillips and Gene Cato, they've exchanged that 6th position a couple of times in the last few laps.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a great battle. There's great battles going on everywhere, really. You got that going on, and then you got a battle behind them. Ryan Sizemore and Jeremy Richmond going on for 8th and 9th. But definitely, it's a 4-car battle. Oh, the 73 is sideways from the 43. What a save by Patrick McQuaid.
Gathers that thing back up. The Muffler Man with a tremendous catch over there in 3 and 4. That could have very easily been our 6th caution of the evening, but he keeps it going. Now falls back into the clutches of Ryan Sizemore for 7th place.
Wow. That was a amazing save in the middle of the corner. I just switched back to that battle right when I saw the 43 drift up the track. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not going to be good. And what a save. Honestly, that one of the best saves I've seen in a long time.
I want to throw out a question to you here, Tom, just based off what we saw in the early stages of this race. Drivers having difficulty with the looseness of their race cars. We got close. We were very close to these drivers having their first cycle green flag pit stops back just before the 4th caution flew. But then the yellow flag came out. We never got an opportunity to really see all of our race leaders hit pit road. Just where would you rate the difficulty level of getting onto pit lane here at a track like Homestead for these guys, with a championship on the line, might I add?
This track is definitely difficult to get onto pit road under green. You don't have to use the access road to get onto pit road under green, so that makes it a little more difficult. You're carrying such a high amount of speed, and the car wants to drift up through 3 and 4 to the outside wall. So you're going to want to stay really low, and you're really going to have to, slow it down as much as you can. But at the same time, you got to make sure you get onto the apron, and once you get onto the apron, it's just going to want to either get you loose and possibly spin you out, or shoot you straight, and you got to make sure you don't hit the tires at the end of the pit road wall.
Gartner. Oh, Gene Cato riding on board with a 49. He's going to hit the wall and up and over.
Oh, no.
Kyle Gartner, that could be his championship hopes over. More contact there as Christian Ruse in the 14 enters into the vicinity. And you saw it courtesy of the onboard camera, or what's left of it there with the 49. Contact between the two of Gene Cato and the lap machine of Angel Santiago. And that smoke erupting from underneath that machine, that could be the sign of a season ending on a sour note.
That is terrible. Literally nowhere to go. Not even his doing. Just wrong place, wrong time.
It was a battle at the time around the 6th position. And you saw it with the onboard. Cato trying to clear himself in front of Santiago. Was not clear. We'll be going back and looking at a further replay, but
I
gracious.
thought DJ Daniels was gonna I thought DJ was gonna get the lucky dog because the 90 was involved in that wreck. DJ actually got damaged from that wreck, so he's not gonna get the lucky dog from that.
Here's a look at it out of turn number 2. Watch the 2, left side of your screen of Gene Cato. Gonna drift up the track. Thought he was clear on the 90 machine. Obviously, we saw from the onboard he was not. That's Ryan Phillips in the 43 taking a hit. I mean, my goodness, what a shot there for Kyle Gartner.
Thank God it's
And they were-
sim racing and it's not real because he would have.
Ryan Sizemore in the 8, I think I saw there on the top
Yes.
side that got damaged
Yes, it
on the way
was.
through as well.
Yeah,
And
Ryan.
maybe
Sizemore
Jeremy
was involved.
Richmond.
Jeremy. I'm not sure if Jeremy Richmond got involved there. He might have. Let me go back and check here.
Here's another look.
He got hit in the back by the 96 and got shot into the wall. But he came down pit road. I think he used his fast repair there. So he's out in the backup car.
I think he already had his fast repair used. All four of our final 4, all 4 of our championship competitors already had their fast repair used up.
The 98 of Jeremy Richmond.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the 49 of Kyle Gartner.
No. His I believe his day is done.
Ryan Phillips is. He has gone to the garage here. We're going to take an onboard with the 96 of DJ Daniel, just see how extensive the damage is on his machine. Running there behind his teammate Richmond in the 98. And there's the contact with the front end of his race car. Not too bad. I think he might still be okay. But Kyle Gartner, I mean, what a tough break there for him. We talked about he was kind of the Cinderella story coming in tonight. The only driver that hadn't won this season, but through consistency had pointed his way up into the Final Four. A nail-biter between the gap of himself and Corey Saucier last week after Kentucky was over. And he had a strong car all night, kept it up inside the top 5, and what a horrible way for his season to come to an end. He still sits on pit road. More damage continuing to be repaired on that car. He's 2 laps down already, as is Gene Cato. We mentioned Ryan Phillips is out of the race. Ryan Sizemore is out of the race as well. And, you know, when you start to get towards the end of a race, towards the end of the season, we talk about all these drivers up here that are just trying to finish out the season with a victory. No championship on the line for them. We get into this portion of the race, 50 laps to go, 25 laps to go, 10 laps to go. Each restart has more and more of that sense of urgency, more of that sense of aggression, and we're more than likely going to see more torn up race cars here as we get closer to the end.
Yeah, it's it might turn into a demolition derby towards the end. I'll tell you right now, it's coming down to looks like 2 guys for that championship, and that's Matthew Robinson and Christopher Lawrence.
Talked about DJ Daniel not getting the lucky dog. He'll be restarting the first car 1 lap down in 11th place. Lawrence in 3rd, Robinson in the race lead, and Gartner making an early exit from the championship picture. It'll be Robinson choosing the inside line on this restart. Cato on the top, Lawrence McQuaid and Noah Owens make actually Jeremy Richmond with then Noah Owens in 6th, going to be your top 6 for this restart. Everybody was on pit lane with the exception of one driver here on the lead lap. That's Zachary Woods in the 60 who elected to take the wave around here under this caution.
I think he's banking on another quick caution here with the fresh tires and everybody's aggressiveness starting up.
10 drivers on the lead lap here as the top 5 get themselves single filed out. Robinson, Cato, Lawrence, McQuaid, and Richmond. Battle's going to be back around the 7th position. That's where Noah Owens looks back, sees Christian Ruse in the 14. A couple of lap machines between him and that 14 machine. Up towards the front, though, James Cato under fire from Christopher Lawrence, who realizes it's go time now. He's got to get up there to the 99.
Yeah, it's done playing around. That might have been the last pit stop. Uh-oh.
Christian Ruse, loose off of 2, saves it though. No contact with any other driver.
Yeah, that might have been the last pit stop of the race. You know, I don't know how much fuel these guys actually have in the tank. I don't know if anybody's going to be saving or not, but that might have been the last shot to get tires and everything. So whatever you got, and go.
And again, that caution coming out just around the time we were expecting these race leaders to hit pit lane for a green flag pit stop. So they've dodged a bullet, so to speak, here tonight, not having to deal with pit road under green flag conditions. But we went back green with 50 laps to go. It's going to be close for these guys. And there's the caution. That's going to put a smile on Zachary Woods' face. It's Noah Owens in the 88. And I believe that is Brock Silvati in the 97 that might have gotten into it off of turn 4.
Yeah, the same thing happened. The 88 just gets loose on the high side, comes right across the 7's bumper. He goes for a spin.
Second caution of the night that the 88 has been involved in. He brought out the yellow for the first time here this evening. And
DJ Daniels back on the lead lap right now.
That's what I was just going to say. I thought that the 96 was the first car one lap down, and not only that, he's going to be restarting up in the 11th position. So going to have some pretty good starting track position here with about 40 laps to go. Could DJ Daniel be the comeback driver here tonight?
It's a possibility, and I was going to say before, I said the thing about DJ Daniel, if I was Christopher Lawrence, I would have pit, I would have taken tires, I would have gotten fresher tires. I know it would have been a couple laps, but I would have gotten fresher tires than that 99. I would have topped off my fuel tank, made sure I was ready to go. I love the move that James Cato did. He came down pit road, putting 4 fresh Goodyears on, packing it full of fuel. Now he knows he's good to the end. See what happens.
For Christopher Lawrence, we've seen that his pace has been close to Matthew Robinson, but certainly Robinson's had the better long-run car. If you come down, you take on those fresh tires, give up all that track position, can you make all of that back up? Because we know that if the green flag flies and Matthew Robinson gets going, he's going to open up a pretty big gap on you.
Yeah, he might open up a big gap, but you don't know about the fuel. You don't know if he's, running so hard that he's going to run out of fuel.
Well, it was interesting. Last week, we tried to gauge who would be the drivers that we would watch here of our Final Four, just based off their finishing positions at the last mile-and-a-half track at Kentucky. Christopher Lawrence decided to pull the car to pit lane and to the garage area early in that race, since he was already secured in the Final Four, to do some admin duties. So we didn't really get a whole lot of an idea of how good his car was at Kentucky, and came into this race here at Homestead a little bit blind as to the speed we would see out of that 9 car. He has been able to keep pace somewhat with Matthew Robinson, but now with DJ Daniel into the picture, back on the lead lap, we'll see if maybe he's got something for these two drivers, see if he can snipe away this championship after running the last 30-35 laps -1.
So you see, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. Cato pit, he's going to restart 7th. He only has to pass 6 cars to get to the lead. If Lawrence pit, he would have restarted. If he came out behind Cato, he would have restarted 7th. I think that would have been a great move for Lawrence, but you know what? We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe Lawrence thinks I have something for Robinson.
And we'll have to see just how much of a charge James Cato's able to make, because we saw earlier on fresh tires how he was able to cut his way through the field, but that was when he had 20-lap fresher tires than everybody else around him. This time he's only going to have maybe 6 or 7-lap fresher tires than the other 6 that are restarting up ahead of him, which are going to consist of Matthew Robinson, the leader, Christopher Lawrence, 2nd, Jeremy Richmond in 3rd, Patrick McQuaid, 4th, James Jones. Where did that 10 car come from? He had a lot of left side damage, or make the right side damage early on in this race. He's back in the lead lap now, up to 5th, with Christian Ruse right now completing the first 3 rows.
Yeah, and then you're going to have James Cato in 7th place with fresh tires. The 88 car of Noah Owens in 8th, TJ Roberts in 9th, and DJ Daniel, your lucky dog candidate, rounding out the top 10.
Daniel will have to start at the rear of the field behind lead lap and lap down machines due to getting the free pass. We saw him cut his way through traffic there to work his way up into the free pass position about 20 laps ago, so we know he's got a fast car, even though he will be back in a bit of a hornet's nest. And big play there for Zachary Woods. Banked on another caution coming out. He got it after the wave around, so 11 drivers on the lead lap of 18 that are still scored in this race. 17 of them are still running. Ryan Phillips, Ryan Sizemore, Shane Ledoux, the drivers out of the race. 40 laps to go. Robinson gets a decent jump. His teammate, Jeremy Richmond's going to push him into turn 1.
Yeah, I'd be very careful with that because those cars could get very loose on that bottom line. As you saw with the 98, a little swirly, and here comes the 9.
Ooh, you saw Lawrence. He wanted to cross over with that run off of turn 2, but the back end said no, stepped out on him a little, so he has to stay to the back bumper of the 99 of Robinson going into 3 and 4. A couple of cars way up the track there. James Jones was almost up into the outside wall through 3 and 4, trying to give room. Well, not much room there for James Cato in the 3.
Yeah, Cato is definitely trying to march his way through the field right now. He's doing a very good job at it, picking up 2 spots in 1 lap, well, 1.5 laps, trying to make sure this 10 car doesn't come back at him.
Now up to the 5th position, and now under fire from the 10 of James Jones. Jones in the inside line, pushes up off the corner, almost got into the left rear quarter panel of the 3 of Cato, as now Christian Ruse going to make it a 3-man fight for a spot inside the top 5. Cato takes control of it into 1.
Yeah, Cato got back to the line he wanted to, down on the bottom, and he's going to pull away from the 10 and the 14, set his sights on Patrick McQuaid for the 4th position.
Jeremy Richmond tried to do all he could to push the 99, his teammate, out in front of Christopher Lawrence. Now he looks on as Lawrence tries to get to the bumper of Robinson for the race lead, the race win, potentially the championship win here as we close in on 35 laps to go. DJ Daniel, let's follow his progress through the field. He's passed a couple of cars, but not many. There's still some lap machines up ahead of him there. That's Josh Anderson on the inside in the 7. Just ahead, his teammate Brock Silvati in the 97. You actually have to go all the way up there to that 11, that black machine of TJ Roberts. That would be the first pass for position for the 96 as they're 3 wide ahead of him.
Yeah, that 11 car is a full second ahead of that 96 to try and get into the top 10. Right now, he's got 3rd locked up in the point standings. That's great. It's a podium. You know, great days. But you know what? That's not good enough. He wants a championship.
DJ Daniel, he started off the season so well. Went to victory lane a total of 3 times in the first 6 races. But then when his teammate Matthew Robinson caught fire, he caught fire in a big way. Tied his teammate with 3 wins, and then we got to the playoffs, and he broke the tie, picking up wins at Iowa and last week at Kentucky. And DJ Daniel, I mean, so far here tonight, it has been an uphill climb for the 96 machine, but You know he's going to be disappointed at the end of the night if he's not able to bring this thing home with the championship. But I think you just can't say enough of the never quit attitude that we've seen out of him. He's been able to work his way back onto the lead lap. He's been involved in 2 cautions here tonight. You can even see the battle scars still there in the middle section of the grill on the front end of his machine. He's obviously dealing with some aero problems, I would think, there, especially in terms of straightaway speed and having to deal, obviously, with dirty air back in traffic.
Yeah, that damage on the front end is definitely hurting his top line speed down the straightaways. Might be hurting him in the corners too. Might have to get off the gas just a little bit more than what he wants to. But you know, great recovery from DJ Daniel. I can't say it enough. You know, involved in both two major wrecks. The guy has really fought to put himself into a position where he could still win the championship. You know, Lawrence and Robinson could wreck each other coming down to the wire, or both of them could pit because they run out of fuel. And Daniel could sit there and win just because he's on the lead lap.
As Matthew Robinson, a couple more circuits will put us at 30 laps to go. We're going to take one final opportunity here this season to thank all of the sponsors of BackFire Sim Racing, including JKR Motorsports. Like them on Facebook and Instagram. Auto Ventures LLC, based in Hudsonville, Michigan. Premier used car, truck, and SUV dealer with the cleanest selection and the lowest prices. Visit them at avcarsales.com to learn more. Junior's Mobile Detailing, based in Marion, North Carolina. Simply the best. Find them on Facebook and schedule your detail today. And SimShots on Facebook, where you can find awesome photos for cheap prices. A big thank you to those sponsors and all the other you see there on the bottom of your screen for their sponsorship here this season in BackFire Sim Racing. So far here tonight, we have had a total of 7 cautions, 10 lead changes, and right now your pole sitter, Matthew Robinson, out in front trying to win this championship. Christopher Lawrence running in second. DJ Daniel back on the lead lap up to 9th. And if you're just joining us, tough break here this evening for Kyle Gartner as he took a second shot into the inside wall. That has put the nail in the coffin of his championship hopes. He is still yet to return to the track. More repairs continuing. He is 20 laps down right now, scored still in this race, but in the 18th position. Second place under contest, James Cato on a mission, trying to work his way back up to the front.
That's those fresh tires I'm talking about. He just blew right by the number 9 of Christopher Lawrence, and he has his sights set on Matthew Robinson. He wants this race win. He still wants to remain perfect on mile and a half.
You talked about Matthew Robinson kind of wanting to make a statement here tonight, winning this race and winning the championship, but fresh tires behind him of James Cato are starting to reel him in. At what point, if you're Robinson, do you say, all right, I realize he's faster, I realize my strategy's not really going to play out the way I was hoping to be able to pick up this victory, I gotta let him by, I gotta keep my car in one piece, just focus on myself and Lawrence manage that gap for the championship?
You realize that when he gets inside of you. Until he gets to you, you don't worry about it until Robinson's spotter says, "Hey, the 3's on your back bumper." That's when you realize, like, okay, I should just relax. I have this championship. But right now, Robinson actually put down a better lap than Cato last time. He was a 10th quicker.
Did indeed. The thing that we have to focus on a little bit here, too, don't know how much of a factor it's going to play into this race, especially with the fact that the pace, once again, on this long run has backed down a ton. But with Cato coming to pit lane under that last caution, he is absolutely certain to make it to the checkered flag on fuel. Robinson's been out there in that clean air. He hasn't really had the benefit of any draft to try and save some fuel, so he could be borderline able to make it, but we haven't been able to go under a full fuel run here tonight to really know just how far these guys can stretch it.
Yeah, and if I were these guys, I would have been saving under these cautions. Definitely trying to, maximize the fuel. Like I said, with the 75% fuel in the tank, it's not a full 18.7 gallons, I believe, in the fuel tank. So I believe these guys are gonna have they're close. The guys that haven't pit under that last pit stop, they are close.
Drivers that would fall under that are pretty much a majority of our top 6. I believe out of all of them, the only one
What happened with
that had
Robinson?
pitted was James Cato.
What just happened with Robinson? We got to pass for the lead.
I'm not sure what it was, but it definitely was detrimental.
He scraped the wall in 3 and 4.
And that's going to lose him the race lead. So, to your point, now the focus changes. Now Cato's ahead of you. You've got that damage on the right side, which may or may not affect your car for the remainder of this race, but you've got a nice sizable 2.5 seconds back to Christopher Lawrence. Now it's just manage the gap between yourself and the 9.
And it doesn't look like he has that much damage on the right side of his car. It looks like the fenders are good looking at his car right now. I'm trying to get a little better of a look. It looks more like towards the center to the back end behind the right rear wheel. So it's a possibility that the car may or may not be hurting, but we'll see.
Talked about the fact that Matthew Robinson, he hasn't won a mile and a half this season. In 3 of the mile and a half races he took part in, he had finished runner-up. And in 2 of those, it was to the guy just up ahead of him, James Cato, back at Chicagoland and last week at Kentucky. He may be looking at his 3rd runner-up finish to said driver here, but there's still 22.5 laps to go, and that last time by, the gap really didn't increase or decrease, still remained just hovering between 0.5 second to 0.6.
Yeah, and Robinson was still 0.3 quicker than Lawrence that last lap. So if I was Robinson, I'd be content running second right now. Yeah, it's not a win, but you know what? Bigger picture here, you still get the championship.
Absolutely. Robinson, right now, officially 0.6 seconds. He crossed the line there behind James Cato that last time by. Christopher Lawrence there in the 9 machine, running 3.5 seconds behind Matthew Robinson. It's been a very consistent season for him. He won the regular season championship. Of course, capped it off with that win in the regular season finale at Daytona, their second trip to that 2.5-mile super speedway. It's been very consistent here during the course of the playoffs as well, based on the fact that he was already locked into the Final Four before they even took the green flag last week at Kentucky Speedway. And right now, currently scored to finish out the season 2nd place in the championship standings. But if that caution we saw back, caution number 4, back around lap 55 taught us anything, it's don't take anything for granted, because we thought that all of our championship 4, they were going to be perfectly safe here tonight. Next thing we knew, all 4 of them were torn up, 3 of them were smoking.
Yeah, it definitely something. I don't even know, man. Like this has been a topsy-turvy race, and what happened with Robinson? Did he just lag out?
He's got some connection problems. He is back. His teammate DJ Daniel, by the way, we just saw came to pit road. He got the lucky dog. He pitted under the last caution, so you would think that he would be a driver that could make it on fuel, and yet he hit pit lane. That's really interesting.
I don't know. That is interesting, actually. I don't know what the reasoning is for that. I don't know if it was because he's short on fuel, or because he's trying something different. I don't know. But battle for the lead is heating up right now between that 99 and the 3 again.
What was 0.6 seconds now is closed up to 0.2, and as you visibly see, it translates to maybe 1.5, 2 car lengths between Cato and Robinson. Cato looking for his 4th win on the season for points paying races, that is, at mile-and-a-half tracks. 5th win of the season at mile-and-a-halfs if you also count the All-Star race a couple of weeks ago. Robinson trying to have his cake and eat it too with a win and a championship here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. And back to the DJ Daniel situation, I'm almost wondering if it's a case of him realizing that his car's not fast enough to win this championship. Try something a little bit here to maybe get some data for next year. Come down pit road, take on 4 fresh tires, and see how far up through the field you can cut your way before this race ends.
Yeah, it could just be an R&D session at this point. You never know. Or he could be hoping for, a caution, maybe. You never know. There are multiple things here as we come to, I believe, 16 to go this time by. Battle for the lead. It's a 2-horse race right now, pending any, pit stops or cautions or anything like that. Yeah, no pressure from behind. It's going to come down to the 99 and the 3. So let's see what happens.
And for Robinson, 6.5 seconds between himself and Lawrence for the championship. It's pretty much a 2-horse race for the win, a 2-horse race for the championship, with Daniel coming to pit road. He drops a lap down. He is not in the free pass position currently. His teammate Brock Silvati holds that spot, about maybe 3.5 seconds over DJ Daniel. But even with the fact that we saw DJ Daniel didn't make a whole lot of progress, I think he worked his way up to 7th place there before hitting pit road. Obviously, a big portion of that was because he started at the very tail end of the field behind lead lap and lap down machines. But if he works his way back up to the free pass spot, again, a caution comes out, he's got to start the tail end all over again. So even if he does get the lucky dog, get back in the lead lap, I just don't see how he can get back into the championship picture. And if you're Christopher Lawrence, you're praying that something happens up here to the 99, because based off of speed, it's no contest. Matthew Robinson is run anywhere from 7 to 8 tenths faster than Christopher Lawrence, plus he's getting the draft of Cato ahead.
Yeah, and don't look now, but Christopher Lawrence is about to be under fire from Patrick McQuaid, and I believe the 98 is starting to close in a little bit on both of them. So we might have a 3-way battle going on for 3rd right now. And if both those guys get past Lawrence, that's just going to put a bigger cushion between Robinson and him for that championship.
Richmond has had a nice run here tonight, albeit having to use a faster pair back during that big wreck we had back around lap 55, but started this race from the outside the front row up here in the 5th position and trying to close in, as you were talking about, on a potential 3-way battle for the 3rd position. And there was a pass for the free pass position. Brock Silvati was on the inside of McQuaid. DJ Daniel on the fresh tires took the both of them up the middle. He'll move up to the 11th position, first car 1 lap down. And I don't know, with the pace he's setting right now, I don't know if he has enough left, but he might actually unlap himself under green flag conditions here, because he's running almost 34 flats to the high 34s, low 35s that the top 2 are running.
I don't know if he's going to have enough speed to unlap himself with, I believe we're coming to 11 to go this time, but it's definitely going to be interesting, as Cato is still under fire from Robinson. Robinson is definitely not trying to sit behind this 3 car. I'll tell you that right now. He is going for this win. And I believe, did the 9 just say he was pitting? Or no?
I don't know. We'll follow up on that and see if indeed Lawrence will be hitting pit lane. I mean, can you imagine if we end up having a green flag pit stops for the championship take place with 10 laps remaining in the season finale? Talk about drama.
That is definitely going to be something else, and I don't believe I believe he was just saying something to a lap down car. I really couldn't hear the comms there. But, yeah. Oh, it looks like the 99 got past Cato.
He did it sneakily. We didn't even catch it on our camera. Ooh, Cato pushing up there and almost getting the wall off of 2. I'm almost wondering if that car started tightening up on him a little bit there, and Robinson pounced. He's going to go to the point. Now Cato trying to see if he can get back there, take this win away from Robinson with 10 laps remaining.
I don't know. It's gonna come down to the wire. Well, let's see if Cato's win streak on mile and a half versus Robinson's championship hopes. Well, championship winning hopes from winning a race. Comes down
James
to this.
Cato. James Cato, if you kind of look at his season, it's been go big or go home. Yes, he's had 3 trips to victory lane in the 7 starts he's made, but he's also had 3 finishes outside of the top 20. Those were at Bristol, Daytona, and Talladega. So obviously, if it's the shorter tracks or the super speedways, they're not necessarily to his liking, but he's had 249 laps led in those 7 starts coming into tonight. He's obviously crossed the 250 plus lap threshold this evening. The question is, you mentioned, can he go a perfect 4 for 4 in mile and a half starts this evening here at Homestead? Right now, the telemetry and the speeds are saying no.
Listen, I always love me a good 4 for 4. I go to Wendy's and get those all the time, but like you said, with the speeds running right now and Cato, he really used up those tires on the bottom line. I definitely don't think he's got anything left for that 99.
We talked about how consistent Christopher Lawrence was during the playoffs. Matthew Robinson, he wasn't consistent. He was just flat out domination. 2 wins coming into tonight during the playoffs. Absolutely secured himself a spot. Even after Iowa, I think he was already locked in to the Final 4. And here this evening, fastest in practice, pole position in qualifying. Up in front here for a good portion of this race. Yes, he ran into trouble there when he got out of shape off of 2, got involved in that big wreck, but after that, slowly, steadily worked his way back to the front and now has no thoughts of looking back behind him. 6/10, now 7/10 of a second between himself and James Cato. The laps keep continuing to tick away. It will be 5 to go this next time by.
And Cato can smell the win, but he can't grab it. As Robinson feels the championship literally in the palm of his hands. He just needs 5 complete laps. Doesn't matter if he wins the race, finishes second, he will get the championship as long as he doesn't mess up. That's all he needs to do, is not mess up.
See that pink machine there of DJ Daniel in the background. He is a lap down, trying to unlap himself here before this race comes to a conclusion. Currently holding down the 11th position. I think that's where he will finish here tonight. He's about 4 seconds behind Zachary Woods for a top 10 finish. I don't know if he can make up that amount of ground with 4 laps to go. But Matthew Robinson, James Cato, it's interesting. Everybody was up there on the top side of the racetrack early on here, Tom. You see the top 2 now. They're doing the best they can to hook that white line through the corners.
Yeah, and at this point, it's just taking away the other person's line. That 3 car, I think that 3 car might have backed off to save a little something for this final run. He is closing the gap. He's given it all. He's given it everything he's got. He's closed it down to 4/10 of a second. The 96 is going to take his line, though, and that could put the nail in the coffin for the race win.
Cato did not get the line he wanted, as you pointed out there, going into turn 1. DJ Daniel might be able to play a little bit of defense here for his teammate, keep the 3 at bay. As well, I thought that Zachary Woods was going to hang on to the 10th position, but there you see him getting passed. So DJ Daniel, despite the hardship tonight, will salvage a top 10 run this evening at Homestead. And just 2 more circuits, 3 more miles left for Matthew Robinson to pick up his league-leading 6th win on the season and a chance to hoist the championship trophy.
And you saw what, just from DJ Daniel going to the inside of the 3 in turns 1 and 2, cost Cato half a second on Matthew Robinson, and he just hasn't been able to gain it back.
You want to talk about stats? Let's talk about Matthew Robinson here as he sees the white flag. So far this season, 7 pole positions, 5 wins, 10 top 5s, 11 top 10s. He's got a 35% winning percentage, 50% pole percentage, and almost 590 laps led coming into tonight. He's obviously crossed 600 here this evening after starting on what was his 8th pole of the night, and he's looking to pick up win number 6. Look at this, sliding it up the corner, trying to pick up a little draft off the 90. Is he out of fuel? He's slow. Robinson's slow. He's out of fuel. He's going to lose the race but win the championship. Cato crossed the line to win the finale. Inches short was Robinson. We knew it was close. I don't think we knew it was that close.
Wow.
And Cato might be out of fuel here too. I don't know if he's just coasting back to the start-finish line, but Robinson for sure is out of fuel. He's going to have his teammate pick him up here and push him to the championship victory lane.
You go one more lap, Christopher Lawrence is winning this championship.
Yeah, exactly. He's still under power as the 9. You saw him just go around on the inside.
Yeah, and Lawrence is still picking up speed.
That's Brock Silvati offering the push to his teammate, Jeremy Richmond, just ahead. You're going to put him in a JKR sandwich there through 3 and 4. Oh, man, Matthew Robinson. Can you imagine the mix of emotions right now in that 99? The elation of winning the championship, but the deflation that you came up, maybe 7 car lengths short of making it to the start-finish line?
My goodness. And Cato's still he's still underpowered. He just floored it around to turn 3. He's, I don't even think he's going to do any, I don't know, I think he's going to go help, Robinson go to the line with the JKR guys.
All 4 of the JKR cars lined up there with champion Robinson. There's Cato pulling alongside the race winner.
And I guess,
again, what did we say? Don't take anything for granted. We had this race win handed over to Robinson. Next thing we know, Cato's winning streak at 1.5 miles. It's perfectly intact.
Wow. I guess Cato's going to do burnouts for both of them.
I don't think there's even fumes inside that 99. As Robinson, he'll finish second tonight, but he will win the championship. James Cato is going to pick up his 4th 1.5 mile victory on the season. This finish is replay worthy. We're going to go back again real quick because 99 of Robinson, he maybe needed quarter of a gallon? Half a gallon?
He needed I would go 0.2 of a gallon.
Oh, gracious. Take a look here. We're going to just take a look from the onboard of James Cato. I mean, talk about a race falling into your lap. Watch the 99. I think at that point, going into turn 3, he realized he was out of fuel. He ran the top side, giving room to Cato, realizing he wasn't going to be able to beat the 3 back to the line. A good show of sportsmanship there, and Cato all of a sudden looks around and says, hold on a second, what just happened?
Wow.
What a finish here tonight at Homestead.
If that's not a way to finish a season, I don't know what is.
No, absolutely not. We got drama early on in this race with the few early cautions. We had drama in the middle of the race with our entirety of the championship 4 getting damaged in some way, shape, or form, all having to go to backup cars via the faster pair. And then here on the final lap of the race, it came down to who had enough in the tank. James Cato apparently did. Matthew Robinson did not, but he had enough to coast across the finish line to be able to get the championship. And normally we end up seeing the champion be able to do his burnout. This is going to be one of those rare occasions where his team's going to have to come out and push him back to championship victory lane.
Let's say, can someone get me a tow truck to tow that car to victory lane, please?
Here is the finishing results. Christopher Lawrence will come up runner-up in the championship standings as he'll finish in 3rd place here tonight. And really, Robinson and Lawrence were the only 2 of the championship 4 to overcome adversity this evening. As DJ Daniel, he fought back to finish in 10th, but he was pretty much out of the championship picture back on lap 75. And then, of course, Kyle Gartner involved in not 1 but 2 hellacious wrecks. He's going to be finishing this race back in the 18th position. Wow. So for Matthew Robinson, it's going to be interesting to have the post-race interview with him, find out what his emotions were coming off of turn 4, realizing that victory lane was slipping away, but the championship was still in his grasp, and also going to be equally entertaining to talk with James Cato and find out what he was thinking when he was passing the 99 coming to the start finish line. But before we talk with them, let's see if we can get a word with tonight's runner-up finisher in the championship standings, our third place finisher, Christopher Lawrence. Hey Chris, it's Tom and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us? We'll give it another try here. Chris, guys up here in the FRN booth. You got us? Apparently we don't have Christopher. Oh, I believe actually we now do have him. Chris, you got us?
Oh, he just muted himself again. Okay.
All right, we'll see if we can get
We'll
a
come
hold
back
of
to him.
Yeah, we'll come back to him here. Of course, Lawrence does a lot of the adminship here in BackFire Sim Racing, so might have had some stuff to look over here. So let's skip ahead and let's actually, we'll go in a little bit of a reverse order here, just based on importance of trophy that they're hoisting here tonight. Let's go down to race victory lane and talk with tonight's winner, James Cato. Hey, James, Tom, and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, the motto here tonight that Tom and I kind of established is don't take anything for granted. Because coming to the white flag, we were talking about Matthew Robinson going to get his first 1.5 mile win. James Cato's streak comes to an end. Then in like the final 200 feet here, coming to the start finish line, you pass by him and your 1.5 mile winning streak is intact. I mean, we were shocked up here. What were the emotions going on inside that number 3 Toyota?
I mean, I didn't think they was gonna be able to make it on fuel. I pitted there on that last caution, and I knew how much fuel we could get in a run. And even with that yellow, I'm like, there's no way. Like they're gonna have to save. So I was expecting them to come in somewhere, about halfway through that run, and it never happened. Laps keep ticking down. It never happened. I didn't know if Matthew was saving or not. Like, I mean, he deserved the win. He was faster than me, pretty much all night. But I don't. If he was saving, it wasn't saving much. And 3 to go, he's still going. 2 to go, he's still running right along. White flag comes out. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna save enough. And then coming out 3 and 4, I seen him getting, slowing down. I was like, man, I kind of feel bad to take it that way, but I wanted that 1.5 mile streak to continue so bad. I mean, I wasn't here fighting for a championship, so I wanted it so bad. I'm glad I got it. I'm glad Matthew won the championship. He deserved it. Best throughout the entire season for sure.
And we saw you go off strategy earlier in the race. We saw you pit under, I believe, the second caution when no one else did. Saw you drive to the lead. And we saw you pit under that last caution to give yourself that extra fuel advantage. Did you know there was no way that everyone else was going to make it unless they saved?
Yeah. And throughout the week, I practiced just to know how long a fuel run is, just for instances like that. And I knew it was going to cut it real close, that you could make it from there, but you was going to have to save. So, I mean, my mentality was go in, get fuel. I'll be good. I can run as hard as I can from here on out. So it's pretty much what I did. And it worked. I only had 200 feet to spare, but it ended up working out.
Well, it's been a fun storyline to follow here down the second half of the season, just how good you've been at these 1.5 miles. You point out the fact you weren't battling for the championship here tonight, but I've made the statement that, if you'd run all the races here this season, no doubt you would have been one of those final 4 for that championship here tonight. Looking ahead to next season, what do you think? What are the chances that the streak can continue there, carry on with the 1.5 miles over into season 2, but not only that, secure yourself a spot into the playoffs and eventually into the championship then?
Yeah, I mean, on the championship wise, I feel pretty confident and being able to secure a spot in the playoffs. It'll be a new season, new people will come in. I'm sure some people will probably leave, but you never know. Just take it a week at a time. Once we get to the playoffs, see how that goes. As for like the 1.5 mile streak, including the All-Star race. I think was it 4 or 5? I ain't sure. I mean, that's obviously going to get broken at some point in time, but I'd love to keep it going as long as I can. And I mean, could you imagine if that would have been battle for the championship right there? It changed in those last 200 feet. That would have been awesome TV.
Probably would have peaked my microphone, but James, congratulations on the victory here tonight. Tremendous season for you and just the limited number of starts that you made. Not only 4 victories here this year, but also that all-star race victory. And no doubt we'll be looking to see that 3-car go to victory lane the upcoming season many times as well. We're going to now give the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Once again, first of all, I'd like to shout out to Matthew Robinson. You know, guy's fast. I can't compete with him on short tracks. He has me. Thankfully, I'm good at the mile and a half. But congrats on championship. He deserves it for sure. I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting this league. Hubka and Lawrence for putting it on. Buck Kicker, Splash and Go Graphics, AJ Hot Shots, Sim Shots, Juniors Mobile Detailing, JKR Motorsports, Auto Ventures, Spin Move Racing, just all the guys in the league. It's a fun group of guys to race with. You know, I'm pretty clean for the most part, and I've had a blast, man. I can't wait until next season.
Well, that's James Cato. He's your winner here tonight in the season finale. The 1-3 Speed 200 goes to his number 3 Toyota. Congratulations, James, on a tremendous home stretch here down the schedule and finishing it off with a bang here tonight with a trip to victory lane.
Thank you.
Looks like we do have tonight's championship runner-up and third-place finisher, Christopher Lawrence, so let's talk with him now. Hey, Chris, Tom, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us? Looks like we might still be having some technical difficulties here. Yeah, see if we can connect here with Christopher. He was locked into the championship 4 regardless of what happened last week at Kentucky, and here tonight, consistency continuing to pay off as he brings it home inside of the podium in third. Chris, you got us yet?
Can we talk to our boss about getting better microphones on pit road?
We'll see if we can be able to touch base here with Chris in a moment here. While we wait to see if we can get this technical difficulty sorted out, let's see if we can talk with another of our championship 4 before we get to our eventual champion. A guy that was able to battle back for a 10th place run here tonight despite spending a good portion of the second half of this race off the lead lap. Let's talk with DJ Daniel. Hey, DJ, Tom and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, what's up?
All right, man. I know, obviously, this was not the way that you wanted this night to go. That car looked really strong early on in this race, but Tom and I kind of looked back and kind of dubbed that lap 55 wreck where all the championship 4 got involved, kind of the turning point of this race. Was that where it started going downhill for you?
I got all kinds of black flags. I couldn't make it back around the pits for when it opened. My engine was gone, so I got a closed pit entry, and that's kind of where it went wrong for me.
Yeah, we were wondering what happened on, I believe, that last restart or 2 restarts prior to the last green flag run, and we saw you come to the green and you went down pit road, and we're like, what's going on? Like, he just got the lucky dog or just got the car repaired and just ended up coming down pit road, and we were both baffled, like, what's going on? That's gonna hurt him big time, put him in a hole.
Yeah, my spotter was talking to me. He told me just to lay off, and as soon as they take the green, dive down pit road, because that would minimize the time lost for when they take the green, and it really did. I only lost 1 lap on that whole exchange with the 16-second penalty.
Now, we saw that you were able to get the lucky dog, and you were able to get yourself back on the lead lap, albeit having to restart back around what would theoretically be, if all the other cars were on lead lap, maybe 16th, 17th position. So a lot of cars that you would have had to have passed there. We saw you make that late dive onto pit road near the end of the race after working your way up to around 6th or 7th. What was the call there? Was this kind of testing the waters, seeing just what the car was able to do with fresh tires against old tires, maybe get some data for next season?
That was just an Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary to see what would happen. We knew Matthew and everybody up front was close on fuel, so I was talking with Spider Brockton, and we decided that would be our only shot. So we tried it, and I guess you could say it worked. We got by Matt with like 2 to go. Just ripping the top, Kyle Larson
Well,
style.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But I think there were a couple times you were higher than Kyle Larson would dare to go. But man, I mean, obviously, congratulations on being able to make that comeback there to finish in 10th. Congratulations on an overall good season as well. Maybe one of the most consistent drivers from start to finish. You had those 3 early trips to victory lane in the first 6 races. You had your spot locked up into the final 4 with a solid outing last week. I mean, we've just seen this 96 consistently, if not at the front, up inside of the top 5. So congratulations on that. And we'll now give you the opportunity here for some season-ending thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
I want to thank New Sport Construction, Auto Ventures, Juniors Mobile Detailing, Main Street Auto Service, 5 Star Cut, BAM Auto, JKR my team, Natural Bite Prep, Matt Rob Cut, Nationwide Homes, RC Detail, Van Dam Welding, Rocco Science Shop, and Max Graphics.
DJ Daniel is going to finish 3rd in the championship standings here tonight after a 10th place run here in the season finale at Homestead. Once again, congratulations on a great overall season there, DJ, and best of luck in the upcoming season.
Yep, thank you guys for putting these broadcasts on.
The problem, Tom, with being the champion is you have to wait a little bit longer for your interview. We're going to do one more interview before we get to Matthew Robinson. We've interviewed a number of our drivers that were in the Final Four for the championship. We talked with him earlier on in the race, got his thoughts, and unfortunately, it did not end the way that he wanted it to. But let's talk with our 4th place finisher in the championship standings, Kyle Gartner. Hey, Kyle, Seth, and Tom up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, I know that obviously this is not the way that you wanted this race to come to a close. You were up there in the vicinity, still in the hunt for the championship, just wrong place, wrong time. But, I mean, at least the fact that you were here tonight in the hunt for the championship, that's got to maybe have the wound sting just a little less, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, I really wasn't even expecting to make the championship. I was just as shocked as everybody else when I was told after last week's race. So I just wanted to go out there, and try to make the best of the opportunity that I had. Unfortunately, got wrapped up in 2 accidents, but yeah. And plus, I mean, Robinson's so fast. It was going to be hard no matter what to keep up with him.
Now, Kyle, we saw you get involved in that first big wreck with the all the other chase contenders tonight. Everybody used their fast repair. Were you kind of, biding your time a little bit after that, or were you just kind of going, all right, you know what? This is my last chance. I'm going for it, seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah, actually, usually whenever you use a fast repair so early, you always kind of scale it back. But tonight, knowing that it was the championship, it's the last race, I didn't want to fall too far behind. I figured it was going to have some long green flag runs, and so I wanted to get up there as quickly as possible, and unfortunately, maybe I put myself in a bad spot.
Kyle, nonetheless, congratulations on a great season overall. As we said, you've been very consistent. Even though you haven't been able to find victory lane, the finishes still were definitely there to get you the points necessary to get up into that Final Four to compete for the championship. And a strong performance out of you tonight as well. I mean, even before you had that trouble hit you there in those 2 wrecks, you were up there inside of the top 5 consistently. We saw this race come down to fuel strategy, so it could have been any of the Final Four if you guys were still up there inside of the top 5 in the closing stages. So congratulations on a great season overall, and we're going to now give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Well, I would definitely like to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast. my friends and family tune in all the time and enjoy the show, which I would like to thank them for all the support throughout the whole season. All the sponsors, I mean, Blackgate, my teammates, Chris and Chris, um, and also I would like to thank them both as well for putting on this league. I've seen kind of behind the scenes what goes into it, and it's a lot of work, and it was really enjoyable, and I can't wait for season 2.
Well, Kyle Gartner, he does finish 18th here tonight, but he finishes 4th in the overall championship standings. And as you said, a lot of momentum to head into season 2 on. So congratulations, Kyle, and best of luck in the upcoming season.
Hey, thank you.
All right, we're going to try one other thing here to see if we can get a hold of Christopher Lawrence. I'm not certain if it will work, but we're going to give it a try. Hey, Chris, you got us up here in the booth this time?
Hey, I got you guys.
There we go. We finally made contact. Well, Chris, I mean, 3rd place here tonight, 2nd in the championship standings, but a couple of times it came really, really close between you and Robinson battling for the championship. And even here towards the end, it came down to fuel. Now, we saw him run out of fuel off of turn 4. You had enough fuel to be able to make it around even another lap. So let's say that this was 136 laps in total. Would we have had a different champion?
We would have. I had I'd say about a half a lap left after I made that other one. I had saved fuel going into that caution. I was clutching the whole time, to make sure I was going to for sure make that run. I just had a feeling it was going to go green the rest of the race, so we wanted to make sure. So, we were saving from the get-go there, and then we kind of started saving once we dropped back a little bit, hoping that, Robinson would run out of fuel, and he did, but it just wasn't enough for us. It was a little too late.
Now, Chris, we saw Cato pit under that last caution. Were you thinking about pitting too, trying to get off sequence to try and maybe, keep up with Robinson? Because obviously, everybody said it. We saw it up in the booth. Robinson had the best car tonight. Were you trying to do anything different on that last run?
No, I saw Cato go in, and I knew he was going in for those tires. It didn't really cross my mind. I was basically staying out with Robinson. Like I said, I knew it was going green, and I knew we were gonna come down to a fuel run. So if he stayed out, I figured I'd stay out and save the fuel, and make it really a fuel strategy.
Now, Chris, I've had a question that I've been wanting to ask you for the last week, just based off of last week at Kentucky. We saw that you were already comfortably locked into the championship 4 with the number of drivers that were there and the amount of points that you could lose. So you ended up pulling off the track early in that race. But that was the only mile-and-a-half track we had in the playoffs prior to tonight's season finale. So we were kind of thinking maybe he was going to want to get some more information to maybe apply over here to this mile-and-a-half track. What was the call to pull that car to pit road early? Is it that Kentucky and Homestead are entirely different, so any data you could glean from Kentucky wouldn't apply here?
No, I mean, to be completely honest with you guys, it was all about updates. I did my updates a little late, and the car just didn't feel right after that. We just were struggling, so we decided to pull off and just kind of take it to, keep an eye out on the guys that we had to race next week, knowing that we were locked up. So it really just came down to the car just not feeling right last week. We knew we were locked in. So we just figured we'd, pull out and just kind of see what happens, and, kind of gather some information like you said. And, that was the goal last week.
Now, one final question for you, Chris. I mean, obviously, you're in here tonight as a racer, but behind the scenes, you and Chris Hubka doing a lot of adminship. Very competitive season here. Really cool to see that format of 16 down to 4. It really puts the emphasis in those 3 races on consistency. Based off of everything you've seen, from the green flag flying at Daytona to the checkered flag waving here tonight at Homestead, what's the optimism level heading into season 2?
We had a great season 1. The guys, the drivers that showed up this year, that ran with us all year. I can't thank them enough. Very optimistic. Obviously, we built a great group of drivers that I know are coming back for season 2 here, and next year. And it really can only get better. Season 1, you obviously have your hiccups, and like every league does, and a lot of these guys dealt with a lot of things throughout the year and stayed with us and helped us build the league that it is today. So I owe a lot of credit to a lot of these drivers out here. That gave us a lot of help. Zach Woods, Angel Santiago, a couple of those guys helped out, with some of the graphics and, all of our sponsors, hopefully we'll have them back next year. But, we're feeling very good coming back into next year. We made some changes that we know that is going to benefit the league next year. And like I said, the goal is to be, have another competitive and a fun season with these guys.
Quite a year for you, Chris. Obviously, the regular season champion. You had that win in the regular season finale at Daytona, and you finished second place here in the championship standings. Congratulations on a job well done. We're now going to turn the microphone over to you for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
First I want to thank my team, Blackgate Motorsports, Rebel Racing. Those guys over there, Chris Hubka, Kyle Gertner, Jeff Vickery. They were a huge help this year. Keeping us up in the top 5 there with strategy. So I got to give a huge shout out to them. And also I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors this year. Some of our sponsors, Bud Kicker, Splash and Go Graphics. They were huge help for us this year. Juniors Mobile Detailing sponsored a couple races for us. So we got to thank them, and also 1-3 Motorsports for sponsoring our championship race. It's been a great season with all of them, and we're looking forward to having like I said, another competitive year next year, and we can all have some fun.
Well, Christopher Lawrence, he brings it home third place here tonight at Homestead in the season finale. He'll finish second in the championship standings here in the first seasons of BackFire Sim Racing. Congratulations, Christopher, and best of luck to you next season. Maybe you can pick up that one extra spot and hoist that championship trophy at the end of that season.
Hey, I appreciate it. Before I let you guys go, I want to give a huge shout out to the 99 of Matthew Robinson. He's a tough competitor all year. He definitely deserved the championship. It was fun racing him all year for that top spot, and I'm hoping next year I can, give him a run for his money.
And he is the guy that we are going to be talking to right now. Let's go down to championship victory lane. Tonight's runner-up is Matthew Robinson. And Matthew, Tom, and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, I can only imagine what the range of emotions were going on inside the cockpit of that 99 coming off of turn 4. Just a couple of fumes short of making it to the start-finish line to pick up your first mile-and-a-half win on the season, 6th overall. But second place is enough to be able to hoist that championship trophy.
Yeah, man, we just needed about 100 yards more. We were close. I guess I didn't save enough. We were real close on fuel. We weren't sure if we were going to make it or not, and I wanted to go for the win and cap off the year. The first win of the season and the last win. That'd been awesome.
Yeah, man. We saw you had the dominant car all night long. Fast, easily the fastest car on track. With you knowing that with the troubles to the other competitors, and really the only guy that you had to worry about was Christopher Lawrence towards that last run, were you content with running behind that 3, or did you actually want to go for the win when you realized it was going to come down to fuel mileage?
Well, at that point, I was in the lead, and I started clutching it. The first time I clutched it, it just sent up to the wall, didn't turn, and he got by me. And so I started saving a little bit when I was riding behind him, and I thought I would be able to make it. So I went for it, tried to get the win, and got around him. And then I started saving some more, and just didn't save enough. But yeah, we had such a pretty decent lead on third. I felt comfortable I could go for it, and I know James. He's a very clean racer, very good racer, and I knew he wouldn't, you know, slip up or get into me or anything like that. And so I was really comfortable racing around him. We've been racing for a while in the last couple of these races in BackFire, and I was trying to get the win, but man, we were just so close. I really wanted that one.
You know, Matthew, obviously, when we end up seeing series have these championship fours in the season finale, we usually have the storylines where a couple will do good and a couple of drivers will struggle during the course of the race. And while we did have some of those storylines later on, the second half of the race, I want to go back to even before we reached halfway. Big wreck takes place up there with you in second place. The rest of the championship four collected up as well. Every single one of you having to use a faster pair. I mean, up here in the booth, we kind of hit the reset button. Was that what you had to do as a driver as well? Just kind of figure, well, it's as if we've all restarted the race with the same type of race cars. It's go back to work time.
Yeah, that's right, man. I just got a little, got a little loose, and it just didn't just kept on going around. Didn't want to straighten up, and I hate it for everyone that was on me, and I really feel bad about it. But thank God we still have a fast repair. I think pretty much everyone had at that point of the race, and but after that, you really had to take care of your car, make sure you didn't wreck it or get someone get into you, and just try to get up to the front, and that's what we did.
Well, we went over your statistics there when you were coming around looking like you were going to win this championship. 5 trips to victory lane, 2 of them taking place here even during the playoffs. I mean, when we started off these playoffs and we headed here in tonight into Homestead, you had already made the statement, you're going to win this championship. You got to go through this 99, and you followed it up here tonight. You win the championship with the second place finish. Congratulations on a job well done, Matthew. And now we're going to turn the microphone over to you one final time this season for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jeremy Richmond with JKR Motorsports bringing me on this year. He's done a lot for the team and setting up practices for us and painting us cars, and he's done a lot for us, and I really appreciate him. I'd like to thank the sponsors that helped us throughout the year: Auto Ventures, Juniors Mobile Detailing, um, Main Street Auto Service, Five Star Cuts, Matt Rob Cuts. Um, and I'd like to thank Max Graphics for these awesome paint schemes they've been putting out for us. And I'd like to thank both Chris's, Chris Hupgood and Chris Lawrence. I know it's tough on them to run a league and keep everyone happy, and they did a great job this year. I had a couple missteps along the way, but everyone stuck it out, and it's just they've done a great job setting up this whole league. It's very impressive. Um, all the stuff they've done, making it special for everyone. These different prizes they have, and everything they're giving out, and um, it's I just really appreciate them for putting on the league, and hopefully to be back next year. I might not be full time, but I'll definitely do some part time races and still contribute. But yeah, I'd like to thank y'all at Flatout Racing Network. Y'all did a great job this year. And I thank everyone racing this year, man. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time this first half of the year.
Well,
20,
second place. Oh, sorry.
go ahead. You're good.
Oh, okay. Well, second place finish here tonight in the 1-3 Speed 200 gets Matthew Robinson the championship in the inaugural season of BackFire Sim Racing. Once again, congratulations, Matthew. Go and enjoy that championship trophy, and job well done here this season. A career year for you.
Thanks, man. I couldn't do it without my spotter either. He's been with me all year, and Patrick Moore, he's you know talking in my ear, talking pit strategy, and let me know who's around me and everything else. Man, he does a great job. I couldn't do it without him.
That's Matthew Robinson. He's going to be celebrating here tonight as he is your champion. James Cato, your race winner. And it was funny when we were talking with him, Tom, because it gave me something to think about. You heard Matthew Robinson say, thank God we all had faster pairs, because let's imagine this race didn't have faster pairs. We'd probably be talking to Kyle Gartner as the championship here tonight, because as you pointed out, he was the only one of the final 4 that left the scene of that accident without his car smoking.
Yeah, he was the only one that wasn't smoking, but I'll tell you right now, I went on board with him after that wreck coming down pit road, and to go straight, his wheel was turned 90 degrees to the left, so I don't know how well that would have went, but you're probably right. We would have been talking to him.
But no doubt we had drama here tonight. We didn't get to see the green flag pit stop. We a lot of times in season finales see that usually is the difference maker, but obviously that big wreck, all championship 4 contenders involved prior to the halfway point, and then of course Kyle Gartner hitting the inside wall. His night is over. DJ Daniels, we found out, with some black flags he had to serve. That put him behind the 8 ball early. And for Christopher Lawrence, I mean, yeah, he was playing the fuel strategy, but it just didn't seem like that car had enough raw speed to keep pace with Matthew Robinson, who, yes, he ran out of fuel, but he built a big enough gap that he was able to coast that thing across the line to be able to win this championship.
Yeah, definitely a great run for Matthew Robinson. A dominating run, really. Shout out to him for putting together this championship run. Great job by James Cato to keep his 4-for-4 streak alive. Hopefully, he's able to continue it next season. I don't know. Maybe someone will come in and mess that up a little bit, but who knows?
We're already getting a little bit of a preview here as far as some silly season stuff, if you will, for season 2. James Cato, if he runs the full season, very much looks like he could be a driver to be in the championship hunt a season from now. And we just heard that the heading into next season defending champion Matthew Robinson might be looking on just running part-time. So that opens up the door maybe for another face to jump up there, maybe be a contender for the championship trophy next season. So very interesting, and we'll have to obviously see how the rest of it unfolds in the offseason between the conclusion here of season 1 and the upcoming season of season 2. But a great finale here tonight at Homestead, Miami, and the drama lasted even until turn 4 on the final lap, coming to the checkered flag, with Cato passing Matthew Robinson, who was out of fuel. Robinson still with the championship, Cato with the win. Tom, appreciate you joining me in the booth tonight.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. And, you were talking about the silly season stuff. Seth, there might be there could be an FRN car next season. You never know.
Where the FRN car goes, the curse goes. So.
Well, we're not going to talk about that, but, a 54 car could pop up out of nowhere. You never know.
Ooh, we're getting lots of silly season going on here already, and we haven't even started season 2. But man, what a great finish here tonight to cap off what's been a great season here for BackFire Sim Racing, and it's been a pleasure to be able to call it. Thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage here this evening for the 1-3 Speed 200 at Homestead Miami Speedway. James Cato is your race winner. Matthew Robinson is your series champion. For Tom Bourne, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.